Hey guys, how you doing? It's Alex coming at you once again here from Southern California. Hope everyone is doing well. I know a lot of you are watching the World Cup. I'm representing here for the Mexican team. They won their game today, so I'm pretty excited about that. Sorry, Sweden, that was a pretty tough loss, but congratulations to the German national team. Big win there. Anyway, just thought I'd come on, show you a few things that I've been listening to. I'm gonna try to do a few needle drops, splice them in. We'll see how that goes. But what's in the background here is this guy here. This is a band called Starlight Motel. The album is Wasting Falls. This came out in 2016. It's basically a Norwegian free jazz quartet. Three Nordic players, and then the fourth guy is an American, Jamie Saft. He's an organ and lap steel guitar player. So yeah, really interesting, very free stuff, but then the organ really adds an interesting flavor there. Definitely check that out. I grabbed this on eBay for like $9, brand new. I don't know if they still have them out there, but definitely worth checking out. This is on the clean feed label. I think it's a Portuguese pressing, actually. So the first one I'm gonna needle drop here in a moment is this fantastic reissue on Mr. Bongo that just came out about a month ago. This is Luis Perez. This is called Mexico Mágico Cósmico, or Mexico Magic Cosmic, as you would imagine. The subtitle, En el ombligo de la luna, which means in the navel, inside the navel of the moon. So this originally came out in 1991. So basically, I believe this was commissioned by the Mexican government at the time. At the time, the president was this guy here, Jose Lopez Portillo, who is quoted here on the back. And at the time in Mexico, there was a very strong nationalist movement. There was heavy investment into the country's natural resources, and oil in particular. And so I think this album was funded basically as part of the government's effort to promote Mexican culture. So Luis Perez, this guy basically decided to make an album that incorporated pre-Columbian traditional Mexican instruments with sort of the Eno, Hansel ambient things that were going on at the time. It's beautifully recorded. At times it is very very traditional. A lot of flutes and percussion. But then at times it gets kind of progressive with some electronics and different things. So yeah, it's a very interesting record, one that I've been looking forward to checking out. I know a few guys in the BC. I imagine John Coltrane 68. I'm sure you have an original of this. But yeah, no, it sounds great. Definitely worth checking out. So it's Luis Perez with Mexico Mágico Cósmico. So here's a little sample of that. Alright, the next one I want to show here is a reissue from last year. This originally came out in 1990. I think it was only released as a CD, so I think this is the first time on vinyl. And this is Dori Takata and Masahito Sato. The name of the album is Lunar Cruise. So Midori Takata, most famous for this record, which I know I showed before and was also reissued last year through the Looking Glass. Female Japanese percussionist. That's her. And then so she's here with Harumi Hosono of Yellow Magic Orchestras on this, as well as Masahito Sato, who I think he's composing a lot of the music here and playing the piano. And I also showed one of Sato's recent, I think that was the trio free jazz record that came out last year. So yeah, a lot of fantastic musicians on this one. Originally from 1990. In a way related to the previous record I showed from Luis Perez. This definitely has a lot of world music elements. I think the piece I'm going to needle drop actually has a lot of Middle Eastern influences. Of course, there's some Eastern Japanese influences here. There's some beautiful piano work, some nice percussion, really superb one. So yeah, here's a sample of that one. Alright, the next one here is one that I've also been looking forward to. This is released in this year, 2018. A new work from the great John Hansel, listening to Pictures. So this is what do we got? We got 9 pieces here. Just right off the bat, it's a very interesting sort of almost modern R&B type of sound on that first track, and overall there's a lot of different sounds here. He really is melding a lot of the things that he was doing in the 80s, with his processed trumpet, and there's plenty of that here, and it's fantastic. But at the same time, he's using a lot of modern electronic influences. Certainly, I hear a lot of things that you might hear on say like the Pan label or the Touch label out of the UK. A lot of not as organic maybe as some of his previous works, his 80s works. Maybe a little bit, these are sort of cooler landscapes as opposed to sort of the more tropical things that he was alluding to in previous works. So even though the cover kind of suggests some of the same tropical soundscapes that he's explored in the past, I think at least for me, these are cooler. It's a much cooler palette, I think, that he's using on this record, but definitely worth checking out. I'm really enjoying this, and I think this is one that's gonna reveal itself over many listens. So I'll give you guys a little sample of that one. All right. Next we got Burton Green ensemble with Aquariana. I'm assuming somebody has shown this on the VC before. I can't recall. You know, I've had this for about a year or so, but recently I revisited this, and wow, is it you know, quickly becoming one of my favorites on the BYG Actual label. So this is from 1969. Burton Green on piano, Jacques Courcille on trumpet. We got Claude Declue on drums, who I believe is the founder of the label. And we got Arthur Jones on alto sax. There's a few other players here. Dieter Wiesler on bass. Let's see the players here. So yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. You know, really one of the more unusual records, jazz records that I have in my collection, period. You know, this feels like it's gonna fall apart the whole time, and yet it seems to work. It's very shambolic at times, chaotic, but kind of very loose, but extremely interesting. Definitely, you know, not much more on the avant-garde tip, you know, as opposed to some of the more, you know, world music and, you know, spiritual jazz things that are going on in a lot of the BYG Actual recordings. You know, really, this record sounds more like something that might be on that might have been on the ESP disc label. Of course, Burton Green did have a couple of releases on the ESP disc label as well, but yeah, a fantastic, maybe slightly underappreciated one on the label. And yeah, there's Big Star 1000 right there. So here's a little sample. And the last one here is an ESP disc record. This is Noah Howard. This is at Judson Hall in New York City. When I first bought this, I assumed that it was recorded in 1967, in the fall of '67, because the second side is a track-long piece that is called Homage to Coltrane. It's 19 minutes long, but at least if the information here is correct, you know, this was actually recorded in the fall of 1966, less than a year before Coltrane passed. So, you know, either there, you know, I'll have to look more into this. I don't know if this performance really did occur in '66, and, you know, in a way it was prophetic then, and even more powerful than it is. It's an absolutely incredible 19-minute piece. I'll do a little needle drop here just to give you a taste. And then side A is also sidelong, a piece called This Place Called Earth. Noah Howard, I mean, you know, all of his records in my book are very, very high caliber, and I think this one in particular, I think, is, at least of the ones that I've heard, you know, one of his finest moments. And check out that awesome shirt. I mean, you can't beat that. So, all right, so here's a little sample of that, and hope everybody's doing well. Feel free to leave some comments, and we'll see you soon. Go Mexico.